On August 19th, my mother-in-law tried to kidnap my son from his daycare. Security footage shows her shoving past staff, screaming, "I'm saving him from that woman." The police arrested her 3 hours later. My husband watched them put handcuffs on his mother. But here's the part that destroyed our marriage. 2 weeks after she tried to steal our child, he visited her in jail twice. This is the story of how my mother-in-law's obsession with stay-at-home motherhood nearly cost me everything. The coffee tasted bitter when Daniel's mother cornered me at our housewarming party on May 12, 2019, at 9:47 p.m. We just bought our first place together 3 weeks earlier. I was so happy. Victoria smiled, but her eyes were cold. "I'm glad Daniel found someone who understands family values," she said. "Someone who knows what matters." I forced a smile back. "Thanks. We're excited about this new chapter. Children need their mothers at home. Full-time, no distractions. That's how I raised Daniel. That's how the Carter family has always done it." I laughed nervously. "We'll figure it out when the time comes." Her smile disappeared completely. Something harder replaced it. Something that made my stomach tighten. "There's nothing to figure out. A mother's place is with her children always. I trust you understand that." She walked away before I could respond. My mother caught my eye from across the room. She raised her eyebrows. After 30 years as a working nurse who raised 2 daughters, Mom had no patience for the idea that mothers belonged at home. I should have listened to the warning signs right then, but instead I married him 8 months later, had 2 kids, and nearly lost everything because I refused to quit my job. My name is Emma. I'm 29 years old. Daniel is 32. His mother, Victoria, is 65. His father, Richard, is 68. They had Daniel late in life after years of trying. The Carter family has rules, traditions, expectations that Victoria lives by because her identity depends on them. She raised Daniel as a stay-at-home mom, never worked outside the home, believes that's the only acceptable way to raise children. Anything else is neglect, abandonment, failure. It's also what drove her to call CPS on me twice, to try kidnapping my kids from daycare, to turn my husband against me until I had no choice but to leave. But I'm getting ahead of myself. We got married on January 18th, 2020. Small ceremony, 47 guests. Found out I was pregnant on February 24th, 2020. 3 positive tests. Told his parents over dinner at their house on May 2nd when I was 12 weeks along. Victoria hugged me so tight it hurt, practically crushing my ribs, already acting like this baby belonged to her more than it belonged to me. Finally, our family continues. "You'll be such a wonderful stay-at-home mother," I said carefully, trying to keep my voice light. "Actually, I'm planning to take 3 months leave, then go back to work. My company has great childcare benefits." Silence. Complete silence. Heavy silence. Suffocating silence that stretched out until I could hear my own heartbeat pounding in my ears. Richard cleared his throat. Victoria's face went pale. "Back to work? With a newborn?" Her voice was sharp now. Ice cold. Every word clipped and precise, like she was explaining something to a stupid child. "After 3 months, yes. Lots of parents do it. We've researched daycares and..." She cut me off. "Daycare? You're going to put my grandchild in daycare? With strangers?" I kept my voice steady. "They're trained professionals." Richard spoke up then. His voice quiet. "Victoria, plenty of mothers work now. Times have changed." She whirled on him so fast I thought she might hit him. "Don't you dare side with her against me." Richard's face went pale. He looked down at his plate. Years of walking on eggshells. Victoria stood up fast, her chair scraping against the floor, hands trembling as she pointed at me. "Carter children are not raised by strangers. They're raised by their mothers at home, where they belong." Daniel touched her arm gently. "Mom, it's 2022. Lots of mothers work. Emma has a great career. We need the income." She shook him off hard. "You don't need the income. You need to prioritize your child." She needs to prioritize her child. We left soon after. 10:43 p.m. The drive home was tense, Daniel's knuckles white on the steering wheel. Neither of us speaking for 11 minutes. "She'll adjust," he finally said. "She's just old-fashioned. She'll come around." I wanted to believe him. Our son Alex was born on September 14th, 2020 at 3:27 a.m. 7 pounds, 2 ounces, perfect, healthy, beautiful. Even as a newborn, Alex was observant. Would track faces with intense focus. Barely cried unless something was actually wrong. The nurses at St. Mary's Hospital said they'd never seen such a calm baby. Victoria came to the hospital the next day. My mother drove up from Phoenix twice that first month, 287 miles each way. The second time, November 3rd, she walked in on Victoria rearranging my kitchen cabinets without permission. "Emma didn't ask for your help," Mom said, her voice steel wrapped in politeness. Victoria barely looked at her. "She clearly doesn't know what she's doing." Mom's jaw tightened. "She's doing fine. You need to leave." After Victoria left, Mom sat me down. "That woman is going to destroy your marriage if Daniel doesn't grow a spine." I started screening Victoria's calls, stopped answering the door. She got worse. My 3 months of leave passed quickly, too quickly. I loved being home with Alex, but I also loved my job as a marketing analyst. At Brighton and Associates, I'd just landed the target account before my leave. My first major client worth $127,000 annually. I was excited to get back to developing their spring campaign strategy. The intellectual challenge mattered to me. Having my own identity mattered. Contributing $4,350 monthly to our household mattered. Daniel and I toured daycares together. Found Bright Beginnings Child Care Center at 2847 Maple Street. Small facility, licensed for 32 children. Clean, carrying staff of 7. Alex seemed comfortable there during the tour. We enrolled him for December 14th, with my return date set for the same week. Victoria found out 2 weeks before I was supposed to go back. Daniel told her during Sunday dinner on November 29th at their house. I held Alex in my lap. He was 3 months and 15 days old. Gurgling happily, "Emma's going back to work in 2 weeks," Daniel said, casual, like it was no big deal. Victoria set down her fork hard. It clattered against her plate loud enough to make Alex startle. "What?" Her voice was low, dangerous. "She's returning to work on December 14th. We found a great daycare for Alex." Victoria stood up so fast her chair fell backward. The crash echoed through their formal dining room. "No, absolutely not." Daniel tried to stay calm. "Mom," she cut him off by screaming, "you will not put my grandson in daycare. You will not abandon that baby." Richard tried to intervene, reaching for her arm. "Victoria, please," she whirled on him. "Don't you dare tell me to calm down." Then she turned on Daniel, her face red, spit flying. "How can you let this happen? How can you allow her to abandon your son?" Daniel's voice was weak, uncertain, already wavering. "She's not abandoning anyone. She's going back to work. Lots of parents work." Victoria pointed at me, her whole arm trembling. "Not Carter parents! She's destroying our family!" We left immediately. 8:23 p.m. Alex crying, me shaking. Daniel silent the entire drive home. 23 minutes of silence. When we got to our driveway, I finally spoke. "She's wrong. You know she's wrong." He didn't answer right away, just sat there staring at our house. "Maybe we could compromise. Maybe you could work part-time." My chest tightened. "We've discussed this. Part-time doesn't work for my position. The Target campaign launches in May." He turned to look at me. "Then maybe you could wait. Another 6 months. A year." I stared at him, really seeing him for the first time, seeing the weakness there. "You're taking her side." He didn't respond. We went inside. Didn't speak the rest of the night. I returned to work on December 14th, 2020, as planned. Dropped Alex off at Bright Beginnings at 7:47 a.m. Alex did great at daycare. The director reported 0 issues. I felt validated. A week later, December 21st, Daniel mentioned casually that his mother had asked which daycare we chose. "I didn't tell her," he said quickly. I said that wasn't her business. 2 weeks after that, January 5th, 2021, I noticed a car that looked like Victoria's silver 2015 Honda Accord parked across from Bright Beginnings when I picked up Alex at 5:33 p.m. When I looked directly at it, it drove away. I told Daniel that night. He said I was being paranoid. Victoria called that night at 11:47 p.m., screaming, "How could you abandon your baby like this?" Daniel hung up on her, blocked her number. "She's gone too far," he said. "This ends now." I believed him for 3 days. Then, on January 8th, 2021, Victoria showed up at our house unannounced at 2:14 p.m., used the spare key Daniel had given her 8 months earlier, walked right into our home while I was at work. When I got home at 5:47 p.m., Daniel was on the couch looking shaken. My mom was here. She came inside using her key, started taking pictures of everything. My stomach dropped. "Why?" She said she's documenting the neglect, said she's going to prove you're an unfit mother. She took 47 photos on her phone. I counted. I grabbed my phone immediately. "I'm calling a locksmith right now. We're changing the locks today." Daniel put his hand on my phone. "Emma, wait, that feels so extreme. Can we just give me 2 days? Let me talk to her, get the key back. If I can't get it back in 2 days, we'll change them, I promise." I should have insisted, but I was exhausted. He was begging, and I gave him 2 days. 2 days that gave her time to make the call. 2 days later, January 10th, 2021, at 10:23 a.m., I got a call at work from County Child Protective Services. CPS, case number 2021-0347. They'd received a report about our son. Neglect, unsafe conditions. They needed to come inspect our home, schedule an interview, do a full assessment. My hands shook so hard I could barely hold the phone. I called my sister Rachel immediately. She lived 117 miles away but took the day off work. "I'm coming. You're not doing this alone." She arrived at 2:47 p.m. before the social worker did. The social worker, Patricia Chen, age 43, arrived on January 13th at 3:15 p.m., professional. Thorough. Licensed clinical social worker for 17 years. She inspected our home carefully for 47 minutes, checked the fridge for food, looked at Alex's room, talked to me for 63 minutes, talked to Daniel separately for 41 minutes, watched us interact with Alex for 22 minutes. She sat us down at the kitchen table at 6:38 p.m. "I'm closing this case as unfounded. Case closed. Your home is clean and safe. Your child is healthy and well cared for. There is 0 evidence of neglect." She paused. "But I need to tell you something. The report claimed your house was filthy, that your child was malnourished, that you left him alone for hours. None of that is true. This was a malicious false report. If the person who made this report contacts CPS again with similar claims, they could face criminal charges under California Penal Code Section 11,172. I knew it was Victoria. Daniel went to see his parents the next evening. January 14th. Came home at 10:17 p.m., looking defeated. I told her she crossed a line. She cried, said she's just trying to protect Alex. Dad said he understands mom's concerns even if her methods were wrong. He thinks kids should be home with their mothers. My chest tightened. So your entire family is against me. He reached for my hand. I'm not against you. I support you. I pulled away. Did you get the key back? His face fell. She said she threw it away, but I don't believe her. For 6 months, things were quiet. Too quiet. Alex was thriving at daycare. Meeting all developmental milestones early, I was doing well at work. The Target Spring campaign launched in May, generated $2.3 million in revenue, got a promotion in July. Senior marketing analyst, $7,200 monthly salary, 17% raise. Daniel and I were finding our rhythm. I got pregnant again on August 17th, 2021. Found out on September 3rd, 2 positive tests. Told his parents on October 12th at Antonio's restaurant at 6:47 p.m. neutral ground. Victoria smiled. Congratulations. When are you due? I said, May 24th, 2022. She kept smiling. And this time you'll stay home, right? You'll have learned your lesson. My stomach clenched. I'm taking leave, then returning to work. Same as before. Her smile disappeared. So you've learned nothing. You're going to neglect 2 children now. Daniel's jaw tightened. Mom, stop. Alex is happy and healthy, ahead on every milestone. This conversation is over. She stood up, threw her napkin on the table hard enough to knock over her water glass. This conversation is not over until you wake up and see what she's doing to this family. We left at 7:23 p.m. Our daughter Lily was born on May 24th, 2022 at 11:47 a.m., 6 pounds, 8 ounces. Where Alex had been calm and observant, Lily came out ready to take on the world. Loud, demanding. Fierce from day one. Daniel held her in the hospital with tears streaming down his face. She's perfect, he whispered. Victoria and Richard came to visit the next day, May 25th at 2:33 p.m. Richard held Lily carefully, said she was beautiful. Victoria barely looked at her, just stood by the door with her arms crossed. 2 kids in daycare now? 2 kids you'll be abandoning. Daniel's voice was hard. Get out right now, leave. Victoria didn't move. I will not. Daniel stood up, still holding Lily, his whole body shaking with rage. Get out. They left at 2:47 p.m. Victoria screaming about grandparents' rights until security escorted them out. We went home 3 days later, May 28th. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. My maternity leave was 3 months again, 92 days, total August 24th was my return date. August 19th, 2022 at 4:23 p.m. was the day everything exploded. I got a call from Bright Beginnings, the director Sarah Walsh, age 37, her voice frantic. Someone had tried to pick up Alex, an older woman. Claimed she was his grandmother, Victoria Marie Carter. Had identification with that name driver's license number, D2847392. But her name wasn't on the approved pickup list. When staff refused to release him, she got loud, aggressive, tried to physically push past the front desk staff to get to the toddler room where Alex was. How did she know to come here, I asked. Voice shaking, Sarah's voice was grim. She told our staff she'd been watching the parking lot for 3 weeks, learning your schedule. She knew exactly what time you usually picked up Alex, 5:37 p.m. average. She timed it for when you'd be late because of your weekly Thursday meeting that runs until 5:45 p.m. She planned this. My blood ran cold. Police were called at 4:27 p.m. She was escorted off the property at 4:39 p.m. She'd tried to take my son, tried to kidnap him from his daycare in broad daylight. My hands shook violently. My vision narrowing, breath coming in gasps. Is Alex okay? Did he see her? Sarah was firm. He's fine. He never saw what happened. He was in the back room with his class, room 3B. But you need to come get him immediately. We've filed police report number 2022-8847. This is attempted kidnapping under California Penal Code, Section 278. I called Daniel immediately at 4:31 p.m., hysterical, crying so hard I could barely get the words out. He left work at Denver and Associates Law Firm at 4:34 p.m., met me at the daycare at 5:12 p.m. Sarah showed us the security footage. Camera 2, timestamp 4:23:17 p.m. Victoria arguing with staff, trying to force her way past. Grabbing teacher Maria Santos's arm, her face twisted with rage. I'm his grandmother. I'm saving him from that woman. This is attempted kidnapping of a minor, Sarah said. You need an emergency restraining order immediately. Case number will be filed as TRO 2022-4729. Daniel looked like he'd been punched, all the color drained from his face, hands trembling. I can't believe she'd do this, I said, my voice hollow. She thinks she's saving him. She thinks she's rescuing him from me. We went to the police station directly, arrived at 5:47 p.m., filed our report with Officer James Martinez, badge number 2847, got emergency restraining order paperwork, Forms TRO 109 and TRO 110. The detective told us Victoria would be arrested within 3 hours. Daniel looked at me in the parking lot at 7:23 p.m., his face pale, eyes red. I need to go see them before she gets arrested. I need to hear her explain why. I need to know if there's any part of her that realizes what she did was wrong. I understood. He needed closure. Go, I said quietly. But Daniel, when you come back, you need to be ready to choose us or them, because there's no middle ground anymore. He went that afternoon, arrived at his parents' house at 7:47 p.m., got there before police arrived at 8:23 p.m. He came home 4 hours later at 11:53 p.m., looking destroyed. Victoria had been arrested while he was there. Arrested at 8:23 p.m. by officers Martinez and Chen. He'd watched police put handcuffs on his mother while she screamed at him. Dad pulled me aside after they took her. Daniel said quietly, crying. He was crying too. He told me something I never knew. Mom had a full scholarship to UCLA School of Nursing in 1975. Full tuition, $3,200 annually. Her own mother made her turn it down. Said good wives don't work. Mom spent 43 years at home. Dad said when you went back to work, it wasn't just about our family. It was about Mom facing what she'd given up. What she'd been told was impossible. Daniel's voice broke. He said he should have stopped her years ago. He saw it getting worse. He was just too tired to fight her anymore. He said, I need to choose you and the kids. That Mom needs professional help. He can't give her. That he's failed you both by enabling her for 17 years. What are you going to do? I asked. He looked at me with anguish. I choose you. I choose my family. I waited for the but. His voice cracked. But I still love my mother. Even though I know she's sick. I still feel guilty, even though I know I shouldn't. Does that make me weak? I said quietly, no. It makes you human. But you can't act on those feelings. You can't visit her. You can't take her calls. You can't let her back in. He was silent for a long time, 17 minutes. I understand that now. But over the next week, I saw the doubt creeping back in the excuses. She's sick. She needs help. Maybe after treatment. And I realized he was never going to choose me completely. Victoria was arrested for attempted kidnapping under California Penal Code Section 278, criminal trespass under Section 602, assault on daycare staff under Section 240, harassment under Section 653M. She made bail 2 days later on August 21st at 3:47 p.m. Richard paid $8,000 cash to Westside bail bonds. I filed for divorce 1 week after that. August 26, 2022 at 10:23 a.m. Filed petition FL100 at Superior Court of California, County of Los Angeles. Daniel was shocked, devastated, kept saying I was overreacting, but I was finished. The restraining order was granted on September 2, 2022. Judge Maria Hernandez presiding, order number RO 2022-7729, 1,000 feet minimum distance, 2 years minimum duration. No contact with me or the children under any circumstances. Victoria was convicted on October 17, 2022 after initially pleading not guilty on September 7th, facing overwhelming evidence, security footage, staff testimony, her own admissions to police, sentenced to 6 months in county jail, 2 years probation mandatory psychiatric evaluation and treatment, 40 hours community service. She served 3 months with good behavior. Released December 17th, 2022. The divorce was finalized on March 14th, 2023, 8 months after I filed. Daniel initially asked for shared custody, 50-50 split. My lawyer, Jennifer Morrison of Morrison & Associates, presented extensive evidence, the police reports from the CPS calls, case 2021-0347, and the kidnapping attempt, case 2022-8847. The restraining order, the daycare security footage camera 2, timestamp 4:23:17 p.m., August 19th, 2022. Text messages where Daniel defended his mother. 47 messages over 6 weeks. Proof he'd visited Victoria in jail twice, September 23rd and October 4th, despite the attempted kidnapping of his son. Phone records showing continued contact with Richard. 127 calls over 4 months. The judge was deeply concerned. Judge Robert Chen, presiding over case FL 2022-9847. Daniel hadn't maintained appropriate boundaries. He'd visited her in jail. The judge ordered supervised visitation at Family's First Visitation Center, 2847 Wilshire Boulevard, until Daniel could demonstrate consistent boundaries, complete a 12-week co-parenting course focused on protecting children from harmful relatives, and attend therapy addressing family of origin issues and boundary setting minimum 6 months, and then reevaluation based on therapist reports and demonstrated behavior. Daniel was devastated by the ruling on March 14, 2023, at 2:47 p.m., but the judge was clear. Your mother attempted to kidnap your child after stalking your family for 21 days. You visited her in jail on 2 separate occasions, that concerns this court regarding your judgment and ability to protect these children. Until you demonstrate you can prioritize your children's safety, supervised visitation is appropriate. Daniel completed his 6 months on September 14th, 2023, graduated to unsupervised visits on September 21st, but voluntarily kept them at every other weekend because he struggled to manage both kids alone. He's trying. He's better. But there's a distance that can't be bridged. I met James 2 years after the divorce. March 2024. A friend from college who was always kind. He'd been through his own divorce 3 years earlier, when his ex-wife cheated. He admitted on our third date, March 23rd at 7:47 p.m., that he sometimes struggled with trust, that therapy had helped, but the wounds were still there. "I'm working on it," he said. "But I want you to know I'm not perfect. I'm just going to be the guy who tries." That honesty meant everything. We started dating slowly. He met the kids after 6 months, September 15th, 2024. They loved him even when he was awkward, even when he didn't know what to say to a crying toddler. 6 months into our relationship, January 2025, James had a bad moment. Daniel had called me 3 times that day about schedule changes. I'd been texting back and forth with him for 47 minutes. James finally said, "I need to tell you something. Watching you text with him, I got this feeling in my chest. Like, maybe you're not over him. Like, maybe I'm the rebound guy. I know that's my damage talking. I know it's not rational. But I need to say it out loud so it doesn't grow in the dark." I put down my phone. "I'm not texting because I miss him. I'm texting because he's the father of my children and we have to coordinate. That's all he is to me now." James nodded slowly. "I believe you. But my brain still goes there sometimes." I said, "I know. And I appreciate you telling me instead of letting it fester." We got engaged on September 14th, 2025. Exactly 1 year after we met. James proposed at home at 7:23 p.m. Nothing fancy, just us and the kids. He asked me to marry him, asked the kids if it was okay if he became their stepdad. They said yes immediately. Alex jumped on him. Lily clapped her hands. I cried happy tears. We got married on July 12th, 2026. Small ceremony, 37 guests. Ceremony started at 3:47 p.m. My mother officiated. Rachel was my maid of honor. Daniel sent a card congratulating us, arrived July 9th. Surprised me. He'd remarried on April 23rd, 2026, to Sophie Martinez, age 34, a teacher who'd been through her own difficult divorce in 2021. She emails me occasionally about scheduling. Always professional, warm, never overstepping. The kids say she's funny, makes good pancakes. Her pancakes have chocolate chips. Daniel chose well the second time. A year after the divorce, February 2024, before I met James, Daniel sent me a handwritten letter. 4 pages, blue ink. His therapist had him write it. He didn't make excuses. He listed every moment he failed us, every time he chose his mother. Every time he asked me to compromise my boundaries, he ended with, "I can't undo what I did. I can only make sure I never do it again." Sophie has a boundary. If I ever prioritize my parents over her or her son Marcus, she's gone immediately. No second chances. I respect that boundary. I wish I'd respected yours. Boundaries aren't walls. They're foundations for safety. You tried to build that with me. I kept undermining it. I'm sorry. I didn't respond. But I kept the letter, filed in a folder labeled "For Kids Later." Someday the kids will ask why their parents divorced. I'll show them that letter, so they'll know their father learned. So they'll understand people can grow even after they've lost everything. James is their stepfather now. The kids call him Dad. Daniel is Daddy Daniel. They see him every other weekend. Saturday 9 a.m. to Sunday 6 p.m. It works. Alex asked me once, November 3rd, 2026, why he didn't have a Grandma Carter like his friend Tyler had grandmas. I told him some grandmas aren't safe to be around. He asked what that meant. He was 6 years old. I told him someday when he's older, I'd explain. When he's 12 or 13. He accepted that Lily doesn't remember Victoria at all. She was 11 months old when the restraining order was granted. To her, my mother is grandma, and that's enough. Victoria died on August 17th, 2024. Heart attack, age 71. Daniel called to tell me on August 17th at 10:23 p.m. I said I was sorry for his loss. He asked if I really was. I said I was sorry he lost his mother even if she was complicated. How do you know she died believing she was right? He asked. I said, did she ever apologize? He was quiet for 47 seconds. No, she completed all her therapy sessions. 47 sessions total. But her therapist's report said she showed no insight, no genuine remorse. She attended because it was court-ordered. She never actually changed. She died still believing she'd been trying to save her grandchildren. I felt nothing when he said that Richard called me once after Victoria died. I erased September 3rd, 2024 at 7:47 p.m. Asked if he could see the kids. I said no. You're not on the approved visitation list. The divorce decree gives me sole discretion over who sees the children outside Daniel's scheduled time. I'm choosing not to add you. He said he understood. Then he said, I'm sorry for all of it, for not stopping her, for enabling her for 43 years, for choosing my comfort over your safety. I see it now. Too late, but I see it. I said thank you for the apology. Then I hung up. Some apologies don't earn reconciliation. They just close a chapter. Richard remarried on May 15th, 2025, to Patricia Morgan, age 63. A retired librarian, kind woman. Daniel says they're happy. Alex starts kindergarten in September 2027. He's 5 years old now. Lily is in preschool, 3 years old. Miss Johnson's class. Both love school. Both have friends. Alex is still that calm, observant kid. Notices everything. Thinks before he speaks. Reads at a second grade level already. Lily is still fierce. Loud. Stands up for other kids on the playground. Reminds me of my mother. Has a vocabulary of 847 words at age 3. Both are happy, adjusted, loved beyond measure. James and I are building the kind of family I always wanted. The kind where love doesn't require sacrifice. Where protecting each other is instinct, not negotiation. Where boundaries are respected, not violated. Where safety is guaranteed, not conditional. That's what matters, not what I lost, what I found. A partner who chooses me without hesitation even when his own fears make it hard. Children who feel safe. A family built on choice, not obligation. On trust, not control. This is what family should be. Simple. Freely given. No conditions. Just love. The kind that makes you bigger, not smaller. The kind my children will grow up knowing is normal. So they'll never accept anything less.